to talk about how immersive technologies can solve real problems and be more than features and functionalities. First of all, I would like to say thanks to the VRAR Association for organizing this event and also for the invitation. Also, I would like to give them props for all the support that they have been giving the speakers. Before I begin the presentation, let me just give you a quick tour into my career. I got my degree and started working as an architect. Soon after, I assumed other roles like 3D modeling, animation, and rendering, while also developing my skills in illustration and graphic design. Having a passion for film, I got my certification as a multimedia developer, film editing, and visual effect artist. Later on, I got the opportunity to work at the national leading company in e-learning solutions, where I spent 12 years of my career, in more than 250 e-learning projects. That's more than 20 projects per year, delivering the best learning experiences. It quickly became my passion, and I felt I was in the right place to apply my skills to enable human development with digital solutions. I would like to share with you the moment my perspective changed about performance support. That moment was 7 years ago. I was in a client from the utilities industry, doing an assessment and filming for developing e-learning content for that client. While roaming the plant, I found a group of technicians around the big equipment. But they weren't doing anything. I asked a simple question, and for me, everything changed. "What's going on here?" I asked. I soon realized that the equipment had failed and there was nothing they could do. My consultant brain started to take action and I started to dig deeper into the problem. It turns out that there was a specific component that had failed. It had to be flown in from another country. Also, the technician and the specialist had to be flown in from another country also. This had a huge financial and logistical impact. I was overwhelmed with it. Here I was, convinced that I enabled clients to empower their employees, but I have found a gap, a huge gap, a gap with high impact. And that is where I started to realize that our approach and our solutions weren't addressing this huge problem. And that problem was how to give contextualized performance support, regardless of the skill set. And that is how my journey into immersive technologies started. Let's begin by explaining some key concepts about immersive technologies and the way we learn. First of all, we learn in the 70-20-10 model, meaning that 10% of the way we learn is about structured learning, classrooms, workshops, webinars, e-learning content. 20% of the way we learn is about learning from others, having feedback, having a mentor, a coach, collaborating in platforms. Both the 10% and the 20% can be addressed with technology, and there are already great ones out there. The challenge here is in the 70%, learning through experience. Learning with job rotation, learning as we progress with life, doing, failing, and learning. This is the critical area where I believe that immersive technologies can add huge value. The second model I would like to share has a deep correlation with the previous one, and it's about the different ways we return information. This is a known pyramid that explains the degree of information we retain after 2 weeks, depending on the format. That means that after 2 weeks, we only retain 10% of what we read, 20% of what we hear, 30% of what we see, and finally, 90% of what we do and say. As we can see, there is a huge difference in retaining information from passive learning to active learning. Although we are in an event about immersive technologies, I would like to point out one simple thing. That's the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality. The difference is in the level of immersion. If the user is completely immersed in the content, he is in virtual reality. Anything less than that is augmented reality. If I see and interact with digital content without losing contact with my environment, I am in augmented reality. The final topic I would like to underline is about the hardware, the devices. There are virtual reality devices divided in 3 main categories. The first is mobile VR, where you use your mobile phone and put it in a cardboard or plastic device, as long as your mobile phone has the gyroscope sensor. The second one is console VR, where you use a dedicated device plugged into your console so that you can view your VR content. The console VR and the mobile VR have some limitations, mainly in the degrees of motion. For a more immersive experience, you have the premium VR devices, like the Windows Mixed Reality, the HTC Vive, or the Oculus Rift. There are also augmented reality devices in two main categories. The augmented reality, you can use your mobile phone, you can use a tablet, or you can use some type of wearable, and the mixed reality ones. The key difference between them is that with mixed reality devices, you have more technology and more functionalities in your wearable, making a more complete experience. Holograms are also immersive technologies. There are two main categories. The first one, holograms by reflection, is where you use a surface to reflect the content. The second one is projection. You have more technology so you can view your hologram better. It's important to know them, the potential and limitations while designing the solution. That's it for the three concepts. How we learn, the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality, and finally, the hardware, its potentials and limitations. Now let's see how immersive technologies are not only part but can be fueled by disruptive technologies. We are listening a lot about disruptive technologies, like artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, robotics, 3D printing, digital twins, IoT, quantum computing, and others. I strongly believe that immersive technologies not only have their own slot in disruptive technologies, but also have the potential to be the front-end user interface to interact with these solutions. But the key important thing that we believe at Axians is that we need to build bridges between technology and business knowledge, understanding the client's challenges and pains before even looking at the technology. One of the ways we approach business challenges is by using the design thinking methodology. The design thinking is a process where we identify a problem, we define it, and then we find the correct solution for it. To identify the problem, challenge, or opportunity, first we need to research it. We need to get some more insights on the problem. Then we are going to define it. We are going to be specific on the area that we are going to be focused upon. Afterwards, we are going to do some brainstorming. We are going to ideate on possible solutions. The final step is to deliver a working prototype and to validate if the solution or the value proposition that we arrived at really solves the initial problem. Let's see an overall picture of the typical challenges our clients have before even looking at how we can solve them using immersive technologies. As a baseline, clients need to grow, be agile, need to be sustainable, need innovation and differentiation. The first of this challenge is about safety. Keep your employees safe, both mentally and physically. In training, how to give compliance training, technical skills training, soft skills training, how to provide good and onboarding experience, how to attract and retain your talent. In performance support, how do you create your knowledge pool? How do you keep your employees engaged? How do you overcome your language barriers? And about mentoring and expert support. Don't forget, client's brand has value. Value in the supply chain. Value in marketing and advertisement. How your brand is perceived in the environmental impact in your community. How about user experience? How do your customers interact with the brand? Customer services and support. What value do your stakeholders have? What's the relation with your stakeholders? These are the main challenges clients have. I will now show you 3 case studies on how we use immersive technologies to solve these challenges. The first one is onboarding. What is onboarding? Onboarding is the first day a new employee enters a company or function, and he needs to learn about the company's mission, culture, organization, and even infrastructure. Also about brand value, key projects, and world footprint. But onboarding is also important in job rotation, in supply chain interactions. In this case study, we use virtual reality to build an immersive experience. where the employee can visit its company isolated hydroelectric plant north of the country. Using 360 content, the user can experience visiting and interacting with the plant on his desktop or using a virtual reality headset for a more immersive experience. He will learn not only the plant's infrastructure, but where every equipment is located, saving time going on location, but also how it works. How this plant generates power, starting at the water entrance to the power entering distribution. The other value that this solution has is that it is useful for providers, remote experts, and also students. For developing this experience, we went on site, filmed in 360, and then added digital information in post production, making it both a virtual reality and augmented reality solution. We have many other projects developed with this approach. Why? They all have the same underlying challenge of bringing to the user the experience of being there while gaining information about the subject. And that's why the success and feedback of our solutions have an impact and amazing return of investment in our clients. In this case study, we used augmented reality to help our client solve his awareness campaign challenge. Employees need to be aware of the benefits of adopting a healthier lifestyle, and that challenge started with changing behaviors in the workspace. The first day of the campaign, we put visual markers in specific areas of the headquarters, and when the user pointed his phone to the markers, instantaneously, without installing an app, several animated avatars interacted with the employee with messages about adopting healthier choices, like using the stairs instead of the elevator. The campaign was a success, and the markers stayed there 1 year after the campaign ended, creating value every day. Remember the story I told you in the beginning of the presentation about the equipment downtime? I would like to share with you the third case study. While looking at the challenge, talking with several clients and looking at the market, we concluded that there are three main challenges, all connected to critical equipment failure. The first one is in the equipment itself. When it fails, it can have a big logistical and financial impact, ultimately affecting the supply chain and the brand value to the final customer. The second one is related to employee turnover. If a company has a high turnover rate, especially in the teams that operate and interact with those critical equipments, and also remember that these teams can be outsourced ones, it has a direct correlation with service quality and first-time fixes, meaning high turnovers equal more downtime. The final challenge is in training. If there are critical equipments, then there are skilled workers that operate those equipments, and typically training these workers until they are ready, autonomous, and productive can in some cases take up to a year or more. If we add the high turnover to the equation, we can see how all these challenges are connected in the impact of downtime. This brings us to our value proposition and solution that I would like to share on our Intelligent Asset and Performance Manager ecosystem. The Intelligent Asset and Performance Manager is divided in three main areas: intelligence, performance, and knowledge. I will give you a quick overview of the ecosystems and then deep dive in the Augmented Worker module. The first module is the intelligent monitoring. Using our real-time monitoring solution, we can predict when an asset will fail and create maintenance orders accordingly. This solution is based on machine learning to find real-time non-correlated patterns that add to the final result, that is equipment failure. The second module, the asset management, brings all the benefits of having an enterprise resource planning ERP like SAP platform managing our clients' day-to-day operations. On the knowledge part, we have the knowledge repository connected to this ecosystem and to the client's learning management systems, or our own. This brings contextualized support on any issue that the employee is facing in his daily operations. The training module is where we use virtual reality specifically to shorten the learning curve of the skilled technicians by designing equipment operation simulations and providing the correct tools to experiment all types of different scenarios and outcomes he might encounter in his daily operation. On the performance area, we have our mobility solution, enabling the field workers with digital tools to enhance their performance in their daily tasks, using their mobile perfectly integrated with the other modules and their benefits in the Intelligent Asset and Performance Manager ecosystem. The last module is the Augmented Worker. By using augmented reality, we can solve the daily challenges of field teams when entering a location to know exactly where are the areas and equipments they need to interact. Today, when a worker enters the room, he needs to cross-reference the serial number of the equipments with his work orders to find the correct ones. This task can take lots of time. Using the augmented worker, not only does he visualize where they are located, their status, and also what he needs to do, but also where are the danger areas in his vicinities, like hot pipes, falling areas, areas where he could hit his head, and also the location of the safety equipment like fire extinguishers. Also, he can ask for remote assistance for that specific test. Another functionality is to create a detailed anomaly report. Using the augmented worker, we can open the way to less skilled workers to become efficiently, safer, and autonomous immediately. I would like to share some pictures of the augmented worker being used in the power production plant, where both skilled technicians and junior ones use the augmented worker in their daily operations. In this presentation, we talked about challenges, bridges, and technology. Here are the key takeaways. The first one is really know your clients or customers, understand their challenges and pains, understand if they are ready to change and innovate. The second takeaway is really identify the problem and its impact. Finally, be a digital enabler, create bridges between technology and clients' challenges and impact. And the final message is to design having a human-centric mindset. Thank you all for watching. I will share with you all my contact information. A big thank you to the VRAR Association for organizing this event. It has been wonderful. Please enjoy the other speakers. If we have some time, I will continue this in the chat room. Cheers!